It's your boy Jimmy Blue, Mr. All Access Elite Boxing, reporting live from Grand Prairie, Texas, the home of Virgil Ortiz Jr. as well as his father, Senior. How you doing, Virgil?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing?
I'm doing really well. Listen, man, we're here. It's it's press conference day here in your hometown of Grand Prairie, Texas. You have your son featured as the main event, along with a lot of other Texas up-and-comers, Texas contenders and prospects, guys that you've been in the amateur system with. What are you feeling, man, as a father, seeing your son up there in the podium?
Well, as a father, everybody, I'm proud, just like any other father would be, or parent. So I guess just seeing him come back to his town and people showing, because this press conference was in a short time, and just to have just this kind of people, just to come, this amount of people come and support, it's a good feeling.
Listen, man, you've trained your son since he was 7-8 years old, maybe even younger. I've actually been to your home, man. I've had the privilege of seeing some of the amateur film and your training regimen. You've always been very, a positive influence on your son. But now that he's 13-0, 14-0, how quickly do you foresee him becoming a world champion?
I think really, it's more about the opportunity. And what I mean by the opportunity, I mean as in, okay, he has only 13 fights. There's a lot of world champions right now that I guarantee you my son beats. The only reason, he probably won't get that opportunity this early in his career because there'll be that excuse where, well, he only has 13 fights. What do I get out of it? And the truth is that nobody with 30 fights or 20 something plus fights or with so much experience wants to get beat by a kid who only has 13 fights because they have a lot to lose. They have a lot to lose and we have a lot to gain. And I can understand that. But at the same time, it's like, it's not fair for my son either because he can't help it that he's as good as he is because he's worked for it and killed himself with it. So he's he's in a tough spot where he's too good to be fighting these guys that would be in his level at his age because he's going to blow them out. And then he can't be fighting these guys up here because their excuse is that he doesn't have enough fight. So he's kind of stuck in the middle. So, it's a good thing that he's good as he is, but it's a bad thing for him because it's kind of hard, to bait somebody in. So that's pretty much,
you make an interesting point. He was the co-main event on the Canelo Cinco de Mayo card. I think he made a statement. It was a statement win. A lot of fans got an opportunity to see his style, his explosive style of fighting. As I mentioned to him, he has power in both hands. He has great body shots, great technique. The kid is damn near flawless. Going to the Robert Garcia Boxing Academy, I know you're with your son, 24/7, as well as with Hector, as well as with Coach Robert Garcia. What makes it such an amazing atmosphere for your son, as well as you as a father and as a team?
I think the difference is being at Robert's Gym is that the talent there is so high, and everybody there kind of they know. But everybody, first of all, for you to be in that gym, you have to be very good. So that's another thing. So everybody knows that they're very good, but at the same time, everybody wants to separate themselves. They don't want to because if there's a bunch of guys, if there's like 10 guys that are good, very, very good. If they were in any other group by themselves, then they'd be the best one. So all these guys are pretty much almost even. So everybody kind of wants to be better than the other without saying it. You really want to be better. Yeah. And my son I've always told my son, you have to be better. You have to be better than anybody. You got to work hard because the next guy is working just as hard as you. So you have to do everything better and details. And now it's about details. So I think that's what makes the difference is that everybody wants to be the best, except I feel like Virgil has been bred different. He brought up different. When he works at something, he does it 100%. When he wants to do something, he makes sure he does it. And so he started boxing. He's not going to do it half-ass or short until he's done with it. So that's pretty much.
So let me ask you this, as a father and as a trainer, you see your son, you see him improving, you see him getting better, you see him, knockout after knockout. 13 guys have tried, all have failed. like as a coach, what do you look for, man, as far as for improvements? Because if I'm not mistaken, he hasn't gone past 5 rounds, and I know he has great endurance, but he hasn't yet been fully tested.
You know what I look for more mainly is like the improvements I look for is details. He already has the work ethic. He punches like a mule. He all the big pieces, like when you build a house, all the big pieces there. Now it's about the little details. When he's fighting, I'll tell him, if he got hit with a punch, some people say, well, it's boxing, he's going to get hit. Yeah, it's true, but there's some punches that he shouldn't get hit. So, I'll point him out like, Virgil, there's no reason why he shouldn't even touch you on this punch, or you could have done this, you could have done, instead of catching the punch, you could have slipped this one and then caught the next one, so maybe he doesn't start finding your rhythm and or start feeling where, measuring your distance or where you're at. You always gotta try to have the guy off balance guessing. So it's small things like that. So once you're all the way up there, that's what you want to start looking for. I mean, you can do mitts all you want, and that's pretty much it. But there's other stuff to this. There's stuff to why he's under firepower. Being in fire. That for him to keep his composure. If a punch is coming, don't overreact. Don't feel like if he catches you with a punch, you got to go right back, because you can also be going right back into another punch. So you got to know when to go back, when not to go back, how to weather the storm. It's just a lot of stuff like that, and people don't. A lot of people don't think about that. And I've been thinking about teaching my son this since he was a little boy. So that's why they say that he's ahead of his time, because that's what I taught him, which is the reason why the Mauricio fight was so easy for him. Mauricio gave everybody a hard time. But since he was a little boy, that's what I've been teaching him. How, other guys that try to throw you off times, how to kill that, because a lot of this stuff is all smokescreen. A lot of stuff is all fake they do. A lot of stuff they do, a lot of, they want to show an illusion they're going to do something, and it's just an illusion. So your job is to to see through that and just make sure that you know what's real and what's not, or what's possible. Because just because something he's not showing something, it's possible that's a possibility he can come up with a right hand instead. But there's also some things that guys try to make it seem like they can do, and you should know inside that they can't do that. So that kind of leaves you more room to focus on something else, or which other side the punch might be coming from.
So, like as a father, do you sit down with him and watch film after his fights and just kind of go over, hey, look, this is their next opponent, this is what we're going to do? Do you like break down the film, or do you? How do you approach that?
Well, what I do is, we train them, and what I do is I'll stay up nights of a lot of nights, and I'll study the guy and I'll dissect him, and that's what I did with Mauricio. And what I did is I can watch the same fight over 100 times, and I don't mean just watch it. I mean, I'll watch the first fight just regular, then I'll watch the next fight just only his feet. I mean, just literally only his shoes, how they're moving, and then I'll watch how he turns his foot when he throws a certain punch, because there's a bunch of different right hands. If he's leaning forward, if he's able to throw that little quick right hand, or if he's trying to bait more, just every different situation. I look at all that stuff. So I mean, one thing that I do is very well is I'm able to read a lot of guys. I can read almost everybody. That don't mean I can tell you, look, he's gonna do this and that and that just by looking at him. But everybody has a pattern. I don't care who it is. Everybody has a pattern, and so my job is to decode it for him.
That's right.
And once I decode it and I show it to him, then he's able to recognize what possibly might happen, and then from there on, it's just instinct from there.
Yeah, I remember about 3 or 4 years ago, man, when I spoke with you, one of the things that really, really stood out to me was you mentioned that every fighter has a code that can be cracked. And, obviously your son is going in, he's moving up the rankings. You guys are now moving from 140 to 147. This is a second fight. Could you just go a little bit in detail as far as the decision regarding moving up in weight?
The reason I moved him up in weight to 147 is, like I said earlier, he's not going to be able to get a world title shot at 140. No way right now. If he does, it'll maybe be a year. Regis Progress and I think it's Taylor, they still got to fight. Remember, these world champions only fight every 6 months.
That's right.
Okay, so that's that fight. Jose Ramirez and Maurice Hooker are fighting. All right, so that's going to happen now. Then what's probably going to happen is
the winner of the two.
The winner of those two are facing each other. That's 6 months from now, and then whoever wins out of there, then if he gets his shot, that's another 6 months from now. My son's a big 140, so to keep him hostage at 140 so long and have him kill himself for that weight, it's not fair for him. So why do that? Go ahead and move him up, or if he's stronger than he is at 140, and have him go campaign at 147, because like I said, at 147. I don't care who he's fighting at 147. I mean, I'm not even saying just to say it. I don't care who he fights at 147. My son is who he is, and that's pretty much it.
Well, listen, man, we appreciate your time, Virgil. Is there any last shout-outs you want to give to any of your friends, any of your family, any of you guys, the sponsors, and the people here from Grand Prairie?
First one to Jimmy Blue.
Already.
And really just shout out to my mom, because my mom has always been there for me. My coaches, Jimmy Barrow, Felice from Irving, Hector Beltran, my son, because he works very hard to be where he's at. All of Texas, Grand Prairie, California. I got to shout out California, because California loves my son. They have always followed him. Everybody in Mexico, just everybody, all the boxing fans in general, and everybody who's a fan of my son. And even those that aren't, shout out to them too, because everybody needs a shout out.
Where can they follow you guys at, man?
They can follow me at Virgil Ortiz Sr. on Instagram, and on Facebook, just Virgil Ortiz. My son on Facebook, Virgil Ortiz Jr., and on Instagram, Virgil Ortiz.
It's your boy Jimmy Blue, All Access, Elite Boxing.